Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about the shield support, the special shield support purchase, which has more relevance now than it has before. And also I want to talk about a special tiered item that was on sale about a week ago that kind of came and went, and there was people that asked me about it, and there were people that made fun of it and said it was terrible, but I just wanted to explain a few things about it because it has a bit of an interesting backstory. So we'll start off with the shield support. This came out and it's only active for 2 weeks, and at the time when it first came out I thought it was terrible, and I still don't think that it is very good for the majority of players. However, if you are someone who regularly spends in this game, if you're someone who wants to grind up a lot of gold, or you want to grind up extra crystals and you have access to basically the top PvP characters in the game, the special shield or the shield special support may actually be of value to you, and I'll explain why. So the primary reason why we use this, and I've explained this in a previous video, is that you combine this with a gold booster and you use the 14 days that it's active to refresh your daily missions 14 times, because it gives you one free refresh per day. And if you calculate the amount of gold that you're getting for those 2 weeks, it's actually better than if you were to use crystals. So you're getting essentially more gold for fewer crystals in terms of how many crystals you'd pay versus the cost of this. And then on top of that, you get the 50 extra clear tickets per day. But there's additional value, because if you don't want to refresh the daily missions, you can actually do something else. And there are members in my alliance, and there are other people out there who have been doing this to great effect. Now, this is most effective in Vibranium, in the Vibranium League, but essentially you use the shield special support to refresh your timeline battle every day for the full week. So instead of getting your 70 battles, your 80 battles, you get double. You get, I think, 140 or 150 battles. And that's just included in the cost of the shield special support. But when you do that, if you can win the vast majority of your battles, and if you can take advantage of, for example, the recommended characters, if you have like a strong character up there like Thanos or Captain Marvel, you can get extra points. And a lot of times you can end up in either the top 50 or the top 10. Now, if you end up in the top 50, you net 875 crystals. And then you minus the amount that you would have gotten, which let's say it's 220. So you're still getting a net profit of 655 or 655 crystals. 655 crystals times 2 is over 1,300 crystals that you would get back, in addition to all the extra honor tokens, in addition to the other bonuses of the shield special support. So this is another thing that's actually been happening quite a lot with the shield special support, and I actually didn't even realize it at the time until very recently. And if you manage to get into the top 10 on one of the weeks, you actually profit crystals. So you're actually investing the $14 for the 2 weeks, and you can actually come away with more crystals than you would have spent anyway. So it's also a net positive, in addition to all of the other items that you get from the shield support. But additionally, I wanted to mention the shield special support because this is the first time we see this, but it probably won't be the last. Because of the X-Men update, we've gotten a bonus to these particular Epic Quest missions, these tracking missions, and now they're giving away double bios. But the shield special support will automatically also double the number of obtainable bios from all game modes. So story missions, sorry, not all missions, but story missions and Epic Quest missions will have double the biometrics available to them, and they'll have 20 attempts instead of 10. So now, instead of having 10 attempts with 2 to 4 bios per attempt, I have 20. So you can farm like 200 bios per day, maybe more than that, maybe 250 bios per day using the shield special support and farming these missions. That's insane for the amount of energy that you're spending, and you're going to need those biometrics for all those level 70s. In addition to that, you can also go ahead and use that in the story mission. You can see it's all 20s now instead of 10. So while it may not be on for very much longer, it's interesting the fact that the special biometric acquisition event was turned on and available for, you know, a week, or now it says 7 days, but I believe at the time it was 2 weeks. And the shield special support also has a 2-week timer. Maybe it wasn't 2 weeks. I swear it was 2 weeks. Maybe it was 10 days. But the fact that they have very similar timelines in terms of how long they're running for means that you can take advantage of that, and you can farm up a bunch of extra biometrics for basically like the cheapest amount of energy possible. So I wanted to point that out to you guys. I wanted to let you guys know why some people are playing a lot more timeline and possibly profiting off of timeline. It is a possibility. You just got to go over to the list and take a look and then see how difficult it is to get into the top 50 or the top 100. Getting into the top 100 actually probably isn't good enough. It's only 220 extra crystals, but top 10 and top 50 is definitely feasible. Again, if you have, you know, those they're tier 3 Jean Greys, tier 3 CMs now, and tier 3 Thanoses. The second thing I wanted to talk about is a tiered sale that was in the store briefly, and it only got to about 110 purchases, and it's one of those tiered sales where it has an initial reward, and then if enough people purchase it, you'll get extra rewards. Now this one is a little bit odd, but let me explain it this way. So I'll throw up the post here that explains what it is. You basically pay upfront 2,800 crystals for 300 biometrics. Now that seems pretty bad because it's 200 crystals more than a 6-star mega rank up ticket, and whereas a 6-star mega rank up ticket works for any character at 1 star or 2 stars or 3 stars or 4 stars or 5 star, these biometrics only work for biometric selector characters. So it's a pretty small list. You know, Minerva, Iron Hammer, Morgan Le Fay. There's not that many amazing characters from biometric selectors. However, I was interested and I was curious by the fact that it gives so many bios if up to 1,500 people purchase. So if the purchases were to theoretically hit the max, here's what would happen. On top of getting the 200,000 gold, for the same price of 2,800 crystals, you would get 950 bios. When I saw that number in my head, I was thinking, that's actually quite a lot. Now let me be clear here. Both the shield special support and this tiered sale for biometrics are not for the majority of players because they're just too expensive and they're just not valuable enough. We're not in the Stark Stash territory. We're not even in the boost sub territory. These are for regularly spending players or newer players who want to accelerate their progress. However, think about it this way. A mega rank up ticket will give you the equivalent of 630 biometrics, or 620 or 610. Depending on if it's a 1-star at 10 bios or if it's a 1-star at 20 bios. However, the difference is that you can't use those biometrics in the mega rank up ticket. It's only usable to rank up a character. However, if you need biometrics to get characters to level 70 and you're desperate enough and you have the crystals, what else can you do? Well, I've spoken to some people, I've spoken to some kind of whales, and they explained to me that actually in the store, one of the best returns for your crystals, if you're looking to just farm biometrics to get characters to level 70, is right here. Well, not there. It's right here. Paying 1,250 crystals to get 160 biometrics. This is one of the fastest ways to farm biometrics en masse if you have, you know, unlimited crystals. Now, of course, not many people have unlimited crystals, I understand that, but then it got me thinking. 2,800 crystals for that tiered event sale, if it gets to 1,500 purchases, and yes, it's difficult to reach that landmark. Basically, one of the only, or the two only purchases that ever reach that tiered maximum sale of players is the Mega Rank Up Ticket tiered sale and the Tier 2 Mega sale, the tiered sale for that one. But if you were to get to 1,500 and that 950 biometrics, if you divide that by 2, it's 475 biometrics for 1,400 crystals. So for an extra 150 crystals, you're getting an extra 315 bios, which technically makes that sale the best sale in the game for crystals to bios if you're strictly looking to just collect random bios and then just use them to push characters to level 70. So again, I'm not saying that sale is good. And in the minds and in the eyes of most players, it's a complete ripoff, and you're probably scratching your head saying, Cynicalex, what the hell are you saying? I'm not endorsing or encouraging people to purchase that. I'm just pointing out that there are a subset, there is like a category of player, maybe it's 5% of the population, maybe it's 10% of the population, whatever, but there are certain players where that's their reality. They have a bunch of crystals, you know, because they can spend a lot of money on the game, but they desperately need biometrics, and it doesn't matter how much they play the Epic Quest tracking missions, it doesn't matter how much they play World Boss Invasion, they just cannot farm enough biometrics fast enough, so they turn to desperation and they start blowing crystals on something like this. Well, now that new sale, again, if it were to hit, I think even if it hits the 1,000 purchase mark, you're still getting at least equal value. I can do the math now. So you get 650 bios for 2,800 crystals. Divide that by 2. You're still getting 325 biometrics for 1,400 crystals, which is still a bonus of 150, 175, 165 bios for only 150 more crystals. If you put it that way, it's a much better deal than this. Now, it doesn't come around often, so I'm not sure when we're going to get one again, but it is curious and it is interesting to note. I like to look at sales in Marvel Future Fight, and I like to imagine and ask myself the question, who is this sale for? Why did Netmarble decide to create this offer? Or why did they decide to create this offer, or this offer, or that offer, and so on and so forth? And I've done this for other offers before in the past, and I've kind of looked at their value, and obviously the value of this biometric sale is horrible for the vast majority of players. It's even bad for me because I just don't need the bios. I have a lot and I can farm up enough of them. But for those players that are newer to the game but are trying to accelerate their progress, exponentially, that might actually be a really good offer for them. Almost 1,000 bios is almost half of what you need to take a character to level 70 for less than 3,000 crystals. Again, you need 1,499 other people to do the same thing as you, but if you really want to catch up, it's a much better offer than anything else. And it's good to see Netmarble recognizing that, yeah, this sale's not for everybody, but it will help certain players get to where they need to go. Does this mean that we should also see an increase in biometrics in certain other game modes to compensate for that? I do agree, and that's why I've highlighted the value of something like this acquisition event. I think we should have more of these acquisition events, and they should be tied to certain things. Like after Endgame, we should have had double biometrics in all of the Avengers-related story missions, like Captain America and Winter Soldier and Iron Man and War Machine and stuff like that. That would have been great. Give the players extra bios, encourage them to farm those characters, while also advertising the new movie, advertising the new uniforms, etc. But it's always good to see where the developer is coming from with new sales and new marketing tactics, because it gives us a look into how they see us, and it also tells us how they're feeling about the game in terms of whether they're making enough and whether they're experimenting with new things because they want to try something, or because something else is going on. So let me know what you guys think of the shield support added value now that we have the double, I guess quadruple or double or triple bonus going on. If you tag team this one with this one, hit me up with what you think of the special tiered item for the almost 1,000 bios. And let me know what you want to see next on the channel. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.